like an 80-hour meeting. Um, as we know. All right. Anything new from the dev team? Sabian, Will, y'all.
Not that you guys need to be aware of, I don't think.
All right. Crossing it off. Um, discussion of breakpoints. So that was some issue with Fardine, Dan, and Will. Uh, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
it
know
was.
anything about that.
I was kind of. It was at this point. I think it's more of just looking for clarification because
Hmm.
uh, on our local website, I think it was set by Daniel. I'm gonna check now. Sure. Some breakpoints were set. Ooh,
Oh, someone's echoing.
It's Rhea.
I don't like
Oh,
it.
sorry, what happened?
You're causing an echo.
Oh, sorry.
Uh,
Hi,
but we
Fabrice.
set some. Who said it? Oh, so Daniel didn't even set it. It was T Northern, who hasn't been here for a while. But okay, so we had some breakpoints set that are different than the ones in the Notion. I think now, with that information, we can just go in if those are set upon breakpoints and update it in the website, and then there will be no issues.
Yeah, so just to touch upon what Will said, what we noticed for the other folks was that if you go into the Notion um, page for breakpoints, I haven't touched base with Daniel, so I don't know how he said it, but right now it's very hard to distinguish the pattern between the sizing ratio, especially given that we're using a base 6 for spacing. So they don't really align with typical breakpoints for the devices that he's outlined. So I don't know if it was more so an input error or there was some reasoning behind it. But basically, I'm going to go in later today and just readjust them because they were causing some dev problems for Will when he was adjusting for the different viewports. Oh, hey, Daniel's here, so we can ask him directly. Daniel?
Hey there.
Hey, we were just talking about breakpoints.
Cool.
How did you set these breakpoints? If you don't mind me asking and throwing you in.
Yeah. So they're actually in the code, like in the production code already. So I kind of pulled those. I did modify a couple just because um, some of them were set at the actual like breakpoint for like tablet. Hold on, let me try and find my Figma, or sorry, my Notion.
So
Oh,
those,
so it was circular then, because Will was assuming the designs were the breakpoints, but then you were assuming well whatever was in the code was the breakpoint.
and we didn't set these breakpoints in the code. Someone made a PR to have like these constants of breakpoints, and we didn't. As a front end developer, I really didn't understand the whole breakpoints thing with responsive design. So if you guys could set those breakpoints, we can adjust on the website in the variables itself. That'd be perfect.
Yeah, so someone put them in, and I just kind of copied them, but they are pretty standard. In some of my other projects, I use like the small breakpoint a lot, 767. Sometimes I'll use the medium 991, and then like large barely, but that's like pretty common for me. And they seem pretty standard to me, right? Like 767 is like the breakpoint between uh, like large mobile devices and portrait tablet orientation. So that's like the most common one you'll design for like mobile. The extra small I haven't seen, but then I put it there just because, well, yeah, it was in there.
Yeah. So
And
based off
then
the variable names, I was confused where I thought small was like what we were going for mobile, and medium was for tablets. So that would give me more room to have a higher breakpoint if because I was wrong.
let's see.
So it kind of
Medium
all
is
works
probably
itself
like,
out.
yeah, medium might be like tablet wide, like landscape. It could be, yeah. I'm probably just on me. Like I probably rename or misnamed those.
Yeah, so works. It's all good.
Yeah. So typically with tablets, portrait and landscape is between 768 and 1024. So did you want to keep it at a 991? I've personally used 896, but if 991 gives you that in between closer to managing the different viewports, then that works out too. I don't know. Like Daniel? What do you think? Is it straightforward with the way it is, or do you think we could tweak it more for Will? Or Will, same question to you, I guess.
We're designing based off. Is it multiples of 6, or what's the phrasing for it?
Well, typically you're looking at common breakpoints between various responsive designs and viewports, but I pasted a link on resources that you can check out. Ideally, you could use the ones that are given, or you could use a custom one depending on what your personal preference is. In this case, I guess Daniel brought it in from previous experiences. You could base it off other figures and other principles, but it's a matter of settling on whatever and going with it. So I guess the question is more so, do we keep the current breakpoints and is that working for you? Or do we have to go back and revisit it so that it's easier for you to work with?
Based off the breakpoints we have now, I think it's really just a matter of variable naming to understand what they kind of outline and what the constraints are.
Do you mean
guys are
in terms of devices or?
Yeah, like I was just getting confused because the variable names
Okay.
like were different, so I was designing it for something else. So that was kind of just a miscommunication issue rather than how we're actually setting things. I mean, you guys are using these breakpoints to design, right?
I personally haven't adjusted it, but yeah, we should be using the breakpoints that Daniel said.
So yeah, basically whatever you guys want to use, that works for me perfectly. Just as long as it's like fit with the design, it doesn't really affect us too much anymore. I'm just gonna go in after they're set and change them in the variables. That'll be perfect.
Okay, that clears up the confusion. I didn't know how you were setting it, Daniel, so I was confused, but that makes sense. I was kind of thrown off by like the whole 991 figure itself. Because I haven't seen much of that. It's usually 896 for me, or somewhere on the 768 end. But okay, that's breakpoints. Susie, I guess we settled that. If anyone else doesn't have anything to say.
All right, sounds good. I was just gonna let you guys have at that because, like, literally not my special area specialties by any means. All right, going back to the schedule for today. So we're gonna go over everyone's progress from this week as far as just like UI type stuff. So going to the Figma. We got some inspo pages. Love it, love it, love it. All right. Fardine, looks like yours is kind of the first one here. If you want to talk about like what you did UI design wise this week.
I would say not much, just because revisiting the design system, there's stuff that I'm playing around with, and it's probably going to change up every one of our designs if we're going to have to abide by like the new type scaling, the breakpoints that Daniel said, and so on. So for me, I wanted to establish those first before jumping in and making the mobile designs that we talked about and then having to rechange them again.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. I'm just gonna go in order of the Figma. So if it's not in order of the Notion, whatever I said, oh well. So we can dive into mine. So first thing, which is active projects, by the way. I feel like most of us know that by now. First thing is this top kind of corner, there's these mobile views for active projects. And what I did here is I copied the appearance of the contact us page mobile that Priscilla designed, and I literally just plopped in the active projects info so far. I do have one that's centered and one that's left aligned. I'm more drawn to the left aligned personally, just because it looks all aligned and cleaner. The only situation here is like maybe if this would take the full width, but I think that might make it too big of a button, like a bit too, draw too much attention to that one button. And then under these would be the cards. So that's kind of the mobile view I was working with. If you guys have any thoughts about that.
I prefer the
Uh,
central button.
Sorry, what?
Sorry, I prefer the button in the center.
I do too.
I'm just joking. Okay. Do you guys shoot. Centered but like but like full width with some padding, or
No, I think the way it looks now. I think it's fine.
for reals?
Is
Alright.
that is the little beam being used as a placeholder right now?
That is
until...
a yeah.
Sorry.
That's a placeholder right now.
Okay.
I don't have an image for that right now, so I just plopped in
Just
one
making
of the ones that's already made. And then I don't know if this was obvious or not, but the cards would be under
Mhm.
this, obviously. All right, centered. Centered, do we think full width, or I don't know, some thoughts there?
I wouldn't go for width.
Should it
yeah,
be smaller?
no.
Should the text be smaller?
Should our join our Discord here? I feel like adding a button here with these cards. I don't know. I feel like a smaller link would suffice rather than having that button again.
For me, my only issue with changing it is that I think it's a bit odd as, like, if you take the desktop, for example, in essence, you're scaling this desktop screen down, and I think it would be a bit odd for the join our Discord button to
didn't see.
switch to another one.
Yeah, I didn't see it added to the left over there.
This could be
okay.
a link as well. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, I just think it needs to be consistent across.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, a button that's possibly centered. Is it too big? Or is that the right amount of
The button.
width on the page? Yeah. I know I don't have any cards on there. I'm just trying to think.
I would probably say maybe slightly smaller. Like for the mobile views, I've started to use the Figma companion app just to like double check sizing.
Mm-hmm. I can look into that.
Oh, that's a smart
Currently, it looks
idea.
fine. Currently, it looks fine. Like I just booted it up now. I think probably it could go a bit smaller, but I think the size it is currently is okay. I would say just like a little bit smaller.
Yeah, the padding is base 24, which is fine as is, or at least the horizontal padding. The font itself, I have changed the button sizing, like the button font sizing, and buttons should be all caps, so that might affect the design a little bit. But the container itself seems to be fine, at least to my knowledge.
Is that in the design system
Yeah.
document? Okay.
Yeah, so I put it in the typography page with all the new updated font sizes.
Thank you.
Yep.
I will update that, and yeah, that can be a next week thing. Other stuff I've been doing, cards. Do you like that sound of clicking? Isn't that nice? All right. It has been a doozy, you guys. That's how I feel about it.
They look really good.
I need thoughts, opinions, all that jazz. Like,
Uh,
I'm thinking mostly like not that one. Mostly like kind of these guys. Oh shoot, who did that? I did that. Like these top three, probably more than like even these guys. But any sort of thoughts, opinions, feedback, go for it, you guys.
so
I still say the middle one.
I
Sorry.
did I did want to just jump in quickly. I did want to propose a conceptual design change, just because that might affect the decision of which card to pick. So while I was looking at the cards, another consideration came into mind, and that is the activity of the project itself. I know this was a discussion in earlier meetings, but we never really, I don't think we've established it, at least not to my knowledge. But whether a project is active or not, or if it's archived, is something to consider. And how do you indicate that at the same time with the description, the tags, and the title? It matters less for organizational projects, but things like community projects, once you have many of them, or personal projects, how do you show which ones are still operational and which ones have finished and which ones are inactive, for example? I don't know how to do that personally, but something that comes to mind immediately if I had to think about it is possibly putting a flare at the top. So having this sort of fill color, but at the top instead, let me just do a quick mock-up.
Yeah, go ahead
Kind
and
of-
mock that up. That's fine.
Kind of like a badge.
Yeah, and then that might change the decision of which card we pick if we decide to go ahead with that. Let me just flip this on its head. And-
Oh, like a tiny little rectangle at the top?
yeah,
like a-
yeah.
Oh, I like
So
that. That's effective too, because it's not like obtrusive, but it's like there.
yeah, and then it adds a bit of again, it adds a bit of accent to the card itself instead of just leaving it like at least these cards they're a
Mhm.
bit too minimalist.
Very, yeah, I agree.
But these ones I definitely do feel are a bit too busy, as I think Daniel mentioned that as well.
tough.
So this came to me at least as a compromise in between. I don't know if this is the way to go about it, but that might be something for us to all discuss. But it was
For
a neat.
active projects, right?
Yeah, so this would be
Gotcha.
active. You could put like orange for I don't know, looking for members, red for inactive. Like you could make up a whole color
Mhm.
scheme with it and then labeling system. But that was just something that popped into my head and I thought I should share.
No, that's really good. Colors might be something to explore. But that could be a way to clean this up. Even, yeah, I don't know. What are other people's thoughts say?
I think I'm more leaning towards this one.
Mhm.
I think it was it Daniel that mentioned this button at the bottom about maybe there's too much going on, so maybe this would be like a better simplified version of it. Also, I like that there's a heading to what these actually are, even though I think it's like pretty obvious what they are, but I think it still works quite well that there's a heading to them, so at least there's a bit more context to it, just in case people aren't entirely aware of what these are. And then I guess that can link back into like search, for example, if there is a search function. I don't know if there is.
Yeah, I second that point as well. I kind of like this latter half of it just because it definitely feels less busy than the other three on the left side. Though I still have to decide which one to kind of go with between this one and this one at least. I haven't made up my mind. I kind of like this one because it has the description, or at least one or two lines, and I don't know how I feel about the tag heading itself because right, you just mentioned it's obvious, and I don't know if that adds to the busyness of the card itself.
It kind of feels redundant and adds white space to the right.
Yeah. So, but I do like this card
I do.
specifically. So
I prefer that one also.
I'll second you on that.
Crap, I was gonna do something I don't remember what it was. Oh. Ooh, shoot. Yeah, by the way, this file is really ugly. Once I solidify stuff, I'll clean it up, but right now it's, oh, god dang it, that's not good either. Oh, that's weird. Huh. I was playing with where to place this button.
I think left aligned works.
Yeah. I was just exploring another option. Anyone else have feedback for these cards? I know I'm taking up a bit of time with this, but it's just been something I've been kind of struggling with.
They look good to me.
Yeah,
Looks
yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think they look good. They look good.
Okay. I agree that this might be a little busy. So, going forward, something like these two for sure. Let's move on to someone else. We don't have sign up. We don't page not found. That's done. Contact us. That is Priscilla. So, take it away, Priscilla.
Hello, everyone. So
Okay.
this week has been a little crazy for me just because I was busy trying to get some design challenge done for an interview as well.
How'd it go?
I'm still in the middle of it. I'm planning to email that over by tomorrow sometime. I'm actually redesigning the Xbox app, so
Ah,
Ooh, exciting.
nice.
yeah. So I was playing around with the image placement with this on mobile. I did post that on like the feedback channel really quickly. I think this is kind of like the thing that we agreed on, where we would have the title "Contact Us" and then the image and then like your text below it instead. So I just ended up changing all these screens over. I did play with the sizing a bit more and the spacing for the bottom footer with the social media icons as well. So I kind of ended up with something like this. And I think that's more or less it, if anything. I think I still need like a success screen for. Mm, actually, no, this one is the success screen. It actually looks really similar to all of them, but yeah. But that's about it. I kind of want this to be a bit more different just because it doesn't seem so different from the other screens. I don't know if that would be like too similar that when they do submit it, it's going to be like, oh, wait, did I submit it or not? I don't know. Random.
Maybe it's a matter of
Or maybe just,
changing the visual here
yeah.
Mm.
and then making it a bit more geared towards that positive feedback. Like, oh yeah, did this? I mean, the message did go through.
Yeah.
I agree. Like, maybe if Mr. Leaf has a thumbs up or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Overall, these screens very clean. Yeah, and the footer changes. Those are. It looks a lot easier to click those items without accidentally clicking the wrong one. So yeah, good job on these mobile screens.
Thank you.
Other
Mm,
people talk.
just a friendly reminder. I haven't had the time to check your designs, Priscilla, but I'm pretty sure you did do it. But for anyone designing, just be sure to space your containers and whatever assets you're working with that contain text from the baseline of the text itself, rather than the container that Figma shows. So, for example, if you snap to where I am, it would be from the line that shows up at the bottom of the text of enter your name, like right over here where my cursor is, rather than the container that, like, rather than the outline that shows when you click on the text box itself. So that's what you should be. But I think you've done it, and the way it is right now, it's fine. Yeah, it looks appropriately spaced. I mean, I haven't checked, but
All right, anyone else have feedback for Priscilla's design?
Looks all good to me.
yep. I like that you got all the error cases too.
All right, awesome. I would say that this design, maybe like besides like maybe having a different success looking Mr. Leaf or whatever. Besides that, I would say this is ready for development then. Because we all agree on it. There's not much else you could possibly do to it. So awesome. All right, yeah. Woo, one done. All right. Let's see who's next. Meet the team. So let's zoom in a little bit.
That would be me.
Go ahead.
I've from our last chat on this. I think I wrote down what the tweaks were supposed to be. I think one was about spacing, if I remember correctly, and change. I think we then decided on which version of these three we actually liked. So I've just replicated that across here. And then I've kind of started to dabble into like the mobile version, which I actually would like quite a bit of feedback on because I don't really know what else I can do to it, minus spacing. I know there's like a massive gap between this planet and the rest of the like meet the team parts.
All right. Wow. Yeah, this has gone a long way since I've seen it in a week. I would say just in general, like more space in between these rows.
Okay.
Just to help with clarity.
Mhm.
Same thing with mobile. More space between the individual people's profiles. That's what that's
Yep.
called. This looks all right. That I don't know. That font might be a little big, but maybe it's just here. Let me zoom in. I think it's all right. Yeah, what you said about spacing here. Let me think. And besides like the tags being updated, but I see it right here, so that's fine. Yeah. Anyone else have other feedback for Raya?
I think again, like the spacing between these are
Yep.
posts. I think that's the only thing because I have a really bad tendency to confuse if like stuff on top it goes with the bottom or the top image.
Yeah.
So I think that would be the only thing. But yeah,
Oh.
other than that, he's good.
One thing to consider is probably tag runoff. So if you do have, I don't know if we've set an upper cap for tags, but if someone does have like a bajillion tags under their name, how is that going to look?
Oh, Susie was doing that last week.
Oh, okay.
good. Mhm.
Yeah, that would be my only point, really. I think there's probably a bit too much white space, horizontally at least.
Oh, so do you think I should? Okay. Do you think I should make
Yeah,
these larger?
not necessarily larger, but potentially thinking about even what else you could put in the container, whether it's a learn more link that leads to like a separate page if we are doing separate pages for everyone, or if it's like their social handles or whatever the case.
Okay.
But it doesn't necessarily have to be larger, but that could also be a way to deal with that if that looks better from your end.
Okay.
Yep, those would be my only points. But other than that, it's pretty simple and concise, and that's probably the best way to go about this.
I don't know
Okay.
if I made it worse. I was exploring. Just because I know the other mobile sites have the image and then the text and then the joiner Discord stuff, so I was trying to see.
Oh no, that makes sense actually. That yeah, I actually
Uh,
prefer that. Yeah.
Oh no, I messed it up. Yeah, maybe the world just needs to be a little bit bigger. This is like kind of there, kind of not quite
Yeah.
there. Yeah. Is it blue when it's active, or was that just?
Oh no, that just ignore that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. All right. Any more feedback for Raya's page?
No, looks good to me. I think you're headed in the right direction with this.
All right. I think that's it for Figma stuff. Daniel, did you have any illustrations for this week? I know you posted some feedback.
Oh yes, I like the new smiley one.
Yeah. I'm
It's
still
so
working.
cute.
Hold on, let me
Alright.
show you guys. It's really like rough, but
Just tell
yeah,
us where we end up posting it.
yeah, I'm trying to hold on, I'll post it in that inspiration page, the illustration inspiration board or page on Figma.
Got it. By the way, team, can we get rid of the design system page on Figma, or is that kind of like a workspace?
That's a workspace. So I'm
Okay.
playing around with colors and stuff there.
Okay, I just
Yeah.
noticed it.
All right, so still pretty rough. I'm playing with the idea of like how to incorporate like the little leafy guy into like something. And right now I'm just playing with ideas, but I kind of like the idea of like a sort of branch motif, but maybe more technical than literal. Just because there is like an aspect of branching for developers and stuff. So
Ooh, I like that.
yeah, exactly. And then there also the concept of like leaf and many leaves, like maybe like leaves are like the developers are all coming together, right, to make a tree in a sense. But yeah, so that's kind of the ideas I'm playing with, like in my head. How I'm going to execute that yet, I'm not really sure, but I'm playing around a little bit. But that said, is there any updates on like copy for what we want, like on the landing page?
Looking at Tina's messages, I think she's still working on that, right, Susie? I don't know much
Yeah, I
myself.
believe Tina's still working on stuff. I mean, this week has been tough
Yeah.
for everyone. So, yeah, I believe she's still working on copy for the landing page.
Okay, yeah, that would. I mean, whatever you put there would help a little bit, but I think it's. Yeah, I'm still just trying to ideate, so kind of grasping for like whatever context there's.
Yeah, is this a design for the landing page then?
Yeah, that's the thought. That's what I'm thinking about right now. So yeah, still trying to figure out how to incorporate like this illustration or this little guy into like illustrative style that I guess we can use like across the rest of the website.
Sweet. Any other like feedback or thoughts for Daniel's work for this week?
I think what you're doing is challenging without the context, so I applaud.
Yeah,
the
I
effort
second
so
that.
far. No, I like it. I like the concepts you're playing around with, and I think I'm personally really eager to see what comes out of it. And once we have the landing copy, and we can spruce it up with the designs and the copy itself and populate it, it's gonna be.
We have some
banging.
tentative copy for that. Let me go grab it and send it to you.
Susie, are you putting that?
I forgot I was on mute. No, I was just saying you're doing amazing, sweetie. Without all our context. I'm gonna delete this.
Let's blow this up. Oh,
I deleted it. Part of me is like, do we have a meeting just to talk about like illustrations or and copy and all that? I don't know. That might be something for the future.
yep.
Yeah, I think so. I think that would be helpful.
That's probably a good idea. Yeah.
I'm
we can
already
knock it all
working
out.
on.
I personally suck in visual design, so I'd be very interested to learn about your process, Daniel.
Oh, just came up with an idea. Okay, this is like more of a streaming idea, but or something. Like just kind of ask like get like an illustrative designer kind of like interview or something. I don't know. That's like totally out of scope of this meeting. So
Put
all
it
right,
on the
I'm
root
writing.
board.
Yes, I'm writing down meet to talk about copy and illustration.
Ooh! Since we have everybody here, I'm sorry, I have to interrupt with this. Zach, Susie, and I want to do root one-on-ones. So basically, what that means is the roots would meet with each of you one-on-one to kind of figure out what makes you enjoy One Leaf, why you're still here, what we could be doing better, those type of things.
Okay.
So if you guys could each individually send me times in the next like 2 weeks ish that you'd be free, so we can set those up, that'd be wonderful.
Sure. Yep.
Thank you.
Sounds good.
Cool.
Just send them to Sabian.
Yep. And then
Alright.
I'll dole it out to you too as well.
All right, sounds good.
Sweet.
Would it be easier to work off of your timeline since you'll be conducting them, or?
No, I get to work from home, so I can do whatever the hell I want.
Okay. That makes sense. I forgot that we're all at home.
Yep. Thankfully, this is like the easiest time to get this thing done.
Literally, like if I had my actual dance schedule right now, Lord help us all. So, all right, let's go to design system stuff, and try to wrap all this stuff up. All right. Oh crap! I forgot to cross out all this. Oh, I don't know how to master that. Oh, hello. Oh, okay, whatever. I suck at Notion sometimes. All right. Design system. Task board. How should we split this up?
If you want, I could.
Fardeen, take it away. This is your
Sure.
realm.
So the last time we chatted, we were talking about splitting up the tasks and working on them. I don't know if many of us got the chance to do it this week, which is totally fine given the whole adjustment to working from home and the actual priority with getting the UI stuff out for the web. So it's totally fine. This is more so just a checkpoint just to see what everyone's been up to and continue on for the following week so we can start wrapping things up and getting to some rough drafts. Priscilla, I have to touch up with you for color. So I'll probably reach out to you this week on that so we can sit down. But a few things I did notice that got filled out are the layout and the logo pages. So Daniel put that up for review, and I just have to go in and review it and see that everything's filled out and kind of make changes if need be. And logo as well. So I don't know if it was you, Susie, or Raya, or both of you. Did either one of you make changes to that or add things in, or?
I have not touched the design system this week, so it
Neither
wasn't
of
me.
us.
Oh,
Yeah.
so is this was this Daniel's stuff from before? I guess.
No, not me. I didn't.
Oh,
yeah,
so this got magically filled out then? Well, either way, it was filled out, and I went to.
Sorry, carry on. Sorry.
Okay, so someone filled this out, and kudos to whoever did. Thank you for doing the base work. I just went in.
What I did and made it better. Good job, team.
I just went in and changed up a couple of things. So if you're on the page, you can see some of the edits. There's still other things to be finalized, so I'll probably put in stuff. And Ryan and Susie, you can always, it's your card, so you can feel free to jump in and add things as you see fit. But starting from the top, it's basically broken down into different applications of the logo and the different components.
Ooh, I need to make a monochrome logo. That's no.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that needs to be done still. But starting from the top, you can see the the total logo itself with the with the leaf graphic asset, and then the logo type and the different applications of them. The stack logo is the vertical version of that. The leaf is just the leaf itself, and the logo type is just the type itself. There's also a many leaves version, which I think is more for background and marketing purposes. A monochrome logo for print that is printed out of poor quality printers, or for background colors that don't go well with the one leaf color. That would be helpful there, and some usage guidelines to be filled out. So what background should the logo be used against? What are some lower and upper caps for the logo sizing? How much space should exist between the logo and other assets around it? Alignment is how should the logo align with other assets as well, and other logos that we place it next to. And misuse are are applications that we do not want. So don't use the logo in this place, or don't use don't scale the logo, don't create custom assets with the logo, so on and so forth. So that's the logo page. I'll be monitoring this as this gets edited, and I'll try to come in with some changes from my end or some suggestions. Brand strategy we went over last time, so I'm going to skip that one. Color, Priscilla and I have to sit down for. Typography. So I've been working on this, and I filled it out a little bit for us to use as a guide. So Daniel did some of the early work and filled it out with a rough type scale, which I appreciated. Thank you for that. But I went in and typed up a second draft. So the fonts that we're using are at the top. There's a link to download the assistant font if you don't have it installed on your system. The type scale has been adjusted. This is the material type scale, or the material suggested type scale for assistant, with this proper sizing for all the headings, the subtitles, the buttons, and the body types. This is probably something that is better implemented ASAP rather than later, because you don't want your designs to change too much. So that might be something to consider as you are designing from now on. The weights that are typically used are under the headings itself. That being said, I haven't included the bold weights, like the bold weights along with the default weights, but feel free to use those as well. I believe it's 700, so you shouldn't use black or semi-bold for some of the headings, but I'll include that in a bit. There's also letter spacing, which can also be adjusted in Figma or Sketch, whichever one you're using. At the bottom, I'm building out some guidelines and some principles to follow. Regarding readability, there's letter spacing, line length, line height, and paragraph spacing. I put the formulas. This is more for the devs when they're going into the CSS. So Will, Sabian, Fabrice, and the other folks. This should give you a quick formula to calculate how to adjust the styling on the go instead of having to reach out to the design team. And some guidelines for how to use type in designs as well. Any questions about that?
Nope.
For the H1 being 105 pixels, what's the use case in your mind there? Just for the top level title for every page, right?
Yeah. So it's going to be the top level title, but most likely we're probably going to go with H2. Like 105 is just obscenely large. It's more so just there just in case we need something of that caliber, because I'd rather it be there than not be there, and then run into that situation of having to communicate to the devs.
Yeah, well,
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, but if that's the case, I would scale that down and have the H1 start at 66 or whatever is more usable, right? And in terms of like semantic HTML, like you always have to have an H1 on the page for accessibility reasons, and the site readers will read off of the H1. So if we define the H1 as like something that we only use occasionally, then it's kind of weird to convey that, right? You can separate it and maybe have like a special like title.
Yes, I could do that for sure.
Yeah, and then have that.
Yep, definitely can do that. For the devs, if you want a quick CSS template for this, I'm pasting this on resources. All you have to do is go down to the interactive type scale generator and plug in assistant for body and captions and headline and subtitles, and then it should give you the code output for whichever platform you want to put that in. And then probably making the manual adjustment for the H1 once I do that. But yeah, that's type. I think that's everything on the design system side, at least new updates. Any other questions or points? All right, that's typography.
Woo.
Is there an AI version of the logo?
Well, aren't we fancy? No. If somebody works in 3D and wants to like have at that, I can I can give you my Illustrator doc. I personally 3D makes me like sick to my stomach, so
Oh no, no, it's just for to do the what's it called? The spacing. Because I'm looking at the link that's this page, they're all PNGs. So is there like an AI or SVG version of the logo?
Oh, like Illustrator. Sorry, I don't know
Oh,
your
sorry,
memory.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can share that.
Okay, thank you.
It's a super old file, and I should update it and clean it before I send it. Because I created the logo back in a time where I was so organized as a designer and blah blah. All right.
No judgment,
I
no
can
judgment.
send it.
Thank
I'll
you.
bring it up though. Adobe Illustrator. Boom, bam, shabam. All right. Let's start talking about next week then. So we have some people done or almost done. It looks like. I'm trying to think how to do this. Maybe I think I'll talk about people who have, it's like easy to understand what you're gonna do next week, and then I'll get into like people that have a bit more
Cool.
options. Okay, so for myself, next week I need to update cards. Mobile was alright. And then just put them into my UI. Into UI. And then making sure everything follows the typography we've established. That is what I need to do. I'll go over design system stuff I need to do. So I actually need to look at the design system. And logo and branding I need to do. So writing, I'm just taking notes for myself. Logo and branding. All right. Someone else who is pretty understandable task. So I know Raya's is getting there, but not quite. So
Yeah.
for meet the team, it will be like just updating like spacing and all of that jazz on here. And then the tags. I'm trying to think if there's anything really else.
I'll use the tags that you currently have.
All right, yeah. And you can see like the one that's like +2 or whatever when they have more tags and
Okay.
I feel like this is almost done. You could probably get started on a view like if you clicked on a person.
Okay, cool. Right then.
That might need a bit more discussion.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm
after
probably
you
thinking
finish this.
maybe it'll probably
ahead.
just be kind of like an article view, more or less like an expanded view of actually let me just quickly
Because I have a similar thing with mine too, right? Like where they click on an active project.
Yeah.
So that's another view I need to work on, actually. I should write that down.
I had a question for the +2 tag. Are we gonna have like that click and expand, or what do we want a tooltip to display? What else would be in there, or just +2 is fine for now?
+2 until you open the article and then it displays all of them.
Okay.
Maybe that wasn't a
works.
statement. That was a question.
+2 until you open it.
Okay.
Cool. So it was a
I'm
statement.
cool with that. All right. So yeah, I have a similar page too that I need to work on as well. So, I don't know what to call that. Maybe like meet the team detail page. You can
Yeah.
keep it. You can keep it on this Figma page.
Okay.
But it's just when you click into one. Click into a profile.
If you,
pic.
I was gonna say, if you click into the meet the team, like on any of the profiles, it'll just take you to their profile, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, cool.
And this is gonna be not super duper fancy for now because everything's static in V1.
Yep.
Um.
I mean, they don't even have to be clickable for now, probably.
Oh,
What
that's a fair
ads?
point.
The
No, the
profiles
people.
on
Oh
meet the
yeah,
team.
those weren't
Should
gonna
we
be.
worry about this for now?
I don't think
I-
so.
Shoot. All right. Never mind.
Oh,
I'd
and I
say
just quickly put something together.
if we need something, if we need work, then sure, go for it.
Like, if you don't have anything else to do, then why not? But I would make it a priority.
Cool.
It might be a nice next step though.
Yeah, I mean, we can always keep designing things to be used for the future. It
Mhm.
could be designed now, and then we'll handle a V2 for development.
Okay.
Any your thoughts on that?
I do need.
All right, I'm gonna just give you that task because we're getting to a point where we have a lot of V1 stuff already set in stone. Priscilla, yours is complicated, so I'm gonna put you last.
Okay.
Fardine. So looks like, let's see for next week. Mobile for sure.
Yep.
Um,
Touch base with Priscilla for color and finish up
Mhm.
typography, so that we have that done.
Mhm.
And I guess review Daniel's card for layout because he put that in the review box. So
Okay.
doing that as well. Something that I did point out, I think last week, but I think this might be really cool for us to build out over time, is the team charter. I don't know if housing it in Notion is the best because I think it was, I forget who it was, but someone mentioned that we're running up to the block limit. So maybe this would be better as a Google Doc. But since it's becoming more apparent that everyone involved in the core team is getting more integrated, and we're developing some sort of work culture or team culture between us all, and we're getting to know each other better. It makes sense to have a formal or a slightly formal document capturing who we are, what we are setting out to do, what do we value, what does success look like to us, how do we handle conflicts, things like that. Um, and I don't know if we need a specific meeting for it. Maybe it's something that we could all just remotely chat about on text and then just plug in stuff that comes to mind and then have like offline brainstorming sessions individually. Um, but I think it'll be really cool to capture the essence of the culture that is forming between all of us. So yeah, probably that as well. So I might create a Google Doc and have some guidelines for inputting values into that.
I like it. Yeah, something with that this week. I'm down with that. And if we either schedule some time or just chat about it in the core channel.
Yeah, I
'Cause
think.
yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to say chatting about it might make sense because I don't want it to feel like extra work. I think one of the cool things about all of this is that we can just do it in a pretty relaxed way. And last thing I want is to keep giving everyone more work, especially the design system stuff already. So this might be something that's more like casually done over time, and we just plug and play things as they come to mind individually, rather than having a whole dedicated session. Um, I forgot to also mention that it'd be really cool to have because of ownership as well. I think that's one other interesting aspect is that as we become more part of the community, how does team ownership work for some of these projects and our involvement in the community? So yeah, sorry, Susie, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
You're good. I like it. That's where I'm gonna put that because I just wanna get through these. We'll cycle back to it probably though. Okay, Daniel for this week. Probably working with Fardine on landing page stuff. Also whatever Sabian said that copy wise he has.
Yep. I think we're just waiting on Tina to give us the copy, and then
Mm-hmm.
we can rework the landing.
Otherwise, for Daniel, I would say just continue your exploration and continue like sharing what you've made and come up with, and we can give you feedback too throughout the week.
Cool. Also, side note, whenever you guys are gonna have that colors meeting, I'd like to join in as well. That'd be helpful to kind of understand what colors to use for the illustrations and stuff.
Yep, I can add you to the card, and I will create a group with all three of us.
Awesome.
Sweet. So that's Daniel. Tina's will be the copy for landing, and then if she has extra time, the copy for active projects and for meet the team. Oh wait, what about contact us page? Did she already do copy for that?
I don't know where we're keeping that, to be 100% honest with you. I should probably get more organized about that.
So I would say her priorities would be landing page and then contact, because that's already done, and then the other two pages I mentioned. All right, Priscilla's page is done, so we need to find a little project for Priscilla. Trying to think. Yeah, looking at our backlog. Sign up, sign in, post page, profile. Oof, where do
We
we
need
want to
the
go? Go ahead.
privacy policy terms and conditions done. That would be V1.
Good
Oh,
idea.
what do those even look like? I don't even.
I don't know.
That's why it's
Well,
Priscilla's ticket. You make her figure it out.
I don't know. I would probably put a counterpoint to that. I don't think it's as important until we figured out the sign up stuff, just because it really doesn't matter. It doesn't. It's not as purposeful without having a channel for people to identify with the organization, and currently that doesn't really exist. The Discord is an unofficial affiliation, but I don't think that warrants a whole terms and service and privacy policy thing. So I'd say the sign up is more important first, and that would probably dictate the privacy policy and terms and agreement. Sorry,
Gotcha.
terms and conditions.
Should we just hide those links then until?
Yeah, most likely. I think that's probably the best case scenario with that.
What about
Okay.
a cookie policy?
Sorry,
Sorry.
Will we need like a cookie policy?
we will.
It's funny because Will said we will.
So I would say then for next week, Priscilla working on again and sign up. I will work on the Trello at least tomorrow or today. Probably more tomorrow. Let's be honest. So like sign in, sign out. Actually no, log in. And then like creating account. Let's see what it's else. Like error if they put in their password in wrong, that kind of stuff.
There's a PR up for that. Thanks to FTB.
Huh?
No, never mind.
Okay. I was like, is that a person or is that like a web thing? Because it could be both.
FTB is Fabrice.
Oh, okay.
He's working on the password
I
validation.
thought you said FTP, and I'm like,
Oh.
it's a web thing. I'm pretty sure it's a web thing. All right.
File transfer protocol.
See, I used to be a web dev. Barely, but I was. Yeah, Priscilla's login and sign up. And just for everyone, your design system stuff, get it done. I know I've been bad about it this week, so I'm a bad example, but I will try better this time.
Yeah, I think the point with that is, again, this shouldn't feel like work. So we're not aiming for perfection. It's more about just having something there, and then just iterating on it. So even if it is basic stuff, or if you're struggling to conceptualize it, definitely reach out to the rest of the team, and we can just move it along. I think that's the name of the game here, rather than perfection from the get-go.
All right. I think
Yeah,
that's.
the sooner the better. Sorry.
Mhm. All right, that's all I have for today's meeting. Anyone else have anything they need to bring up or questions or stuff like that?
Yeah, the hackathon stuff from the stream, I think, right?
Yep.
That's where we last talked about it. So for those who haven't had a chance to catch up with the stream or weren't there, as you know, with the current climate, a lot of things are being canceled, physical meetups and so on. But there's a couple of hackathons. By a couple, I mean actually a few. I don't think that many did this, but they've transitioned to a digital format. So you don't have to travel across the country or the continent to attend anymore. You can just digitally sign up and work from the comfort of your home. And it'd be really cool to participate as a one leaf team, or just even if it is from a personal angle and you want to build something for your portfolio or explore a cool and interesting idea. Um, I personally would want to participate with some of you guys and build something really cool over the course of a weekend. But that's something to consider if you have the time for it. I will paste the link again on resources just in case it got buried.
So I was
And
looking at those, and I was wondering. It says most of them you have to be a student. I think all of them said you have to be a student for it.
they don't really enforce it. Like technically, you could, like I've been doing this, you could just put your school and just say your graduation year is coming up. They never really check,
True.
and there's nothing against you being not being a student as long as you're not like 7 years old and trying to hack. Like then it's a bit obvious, but yeah, it's that's actually a good question.
How much opportunity in these is there for designers? Just because I'm not super familiar with it.
A lot. Well, technically, hackathons tend to be more dev oriented. There are a couple ones that do place an emphasis on design and UX, but generally, the more complete product or project is by the end of the hackathon, even from a visual slash design angle, the better the reception. So even if they don't have the accommodation for designs or like a specific stream or workshops around that, having a well balanced design dev team will lead to better reception for the final final product.
All right. Maybe we talk about this week, bring it up in the stream again, and try to pick out a couple that One Leaf can participate in, and get like a roster of people or something.
Yep. The only thing I point out is that I think signups are ending soon because they need confirmations. So if you do, if you are interested in participating, maybe we could create a poll, and then whoever is interested, we could start making teams and then think about ideas, and that way we can figure it out sooner than later.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just looking at these. So it looks like only one is worldwide.
Yeah, the quarantine one.
Yeah, I was just browsing at them.
Yeah.
The quarantine one. That's all of them, Fardine.
I just saw this one.
No. The one with quarantine, like
No.
hack quarantine. Yeah. So yeah.
All right. Maybe focus more
That
on
one
the
starts
other.
tomorrow, right?
Ah!
Yes, but it goes up till April 12th. So some of these competitions also have prizes. That's also something to consider.
All right. Yeah. So a poll about all that stuff. And as far as being a root person, we do weekly announcements, and we do have a root meeting every week. So I'm sure we'll bring it up, and we'll probably put it in a weekly announcement here soon. So get the word out.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anyone else have anything for today?
Nope. That's pretty much it.
All right. Well, thank you all for coming to the meeting and participating and being great. And have a happy rest of your quarantine. Stay
Likewise.
inside.
Will do.
Good. See y'all next week.
See you later.
Bye, guys.
Everyone.
Bye.
Thanks for coming. What up, my dev peeps?
Hello.
So, looking like we can start on the contact us page. Is the main update from this?
So
Woo
I'm
woo.
What'd you say, Will?
I'm already almost finished with it.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm kind of pumped.
That's the move. Yes. Okay.
I think.
I'll mute myself now.
God, Susie, get out. I cannot make a freaking decision on what I want to do for the map. I've tested so many of these things, and they all like some of them cost, or some of them just like don't look good, or I don't know. So we have contact us page. I think my main goal this week should be to chit chat with Tina and make sure that I can get the landing page copy done, because I feel like that's kind of holding us back.
And also the contact us back end that needs to send the email for all that.
So I talked to Zach about that, and I think what we want to do is that when you hit the send button, it just opens up your whatever mail client is default on your machine, and it populates that info.
All right.
I personally think the other option is better, but I think for V1 it might be better to not do it that way. I don't know. Zach, do you want to what was your argument for this? I forget what it was.
There's multiple things that I was worried about. Just spam of that. We're gonna have to limit them on how much times they send. We're gonna have to keep track of how many times or what email has been sent, and just letting them use their email client. Also, if they wanted to attach a attachment, it like they can't with how it's set up right now, unless we support that then.
So
Just a few of those things, but then yeah, also just getting V1 out, and then also finding support for the back end to do it. Like Arcus is saying, potentially cost money depending on what solution we go with. So we still have to find that solution of what would do the emails.
Yeah, it's gonna be another AWS thing, which will cost money.
Yeah, like,
currently, if you click the email link, it opens up there.
Did you just do
local
the mail
email.
to thingy?
Yeah, I did
Yeah,
that.
that'll work for now.
So how would you? I guess I'll have to look into how to populate the email itself with that information.
I shared a resource. I forget. Steven,
yeah, I think you can put like
the last 2
other
days.
program.
I had to drive back to my old apartment and grab the rest of my stuff.
I think there should be possible to put some query param like subject and body into this mail to link.
Yep,
so
there
you
is.
can.
I'll send you the link. I found the description of you can add in carbon copy, blind carbon copy, a subject, a body, and others.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, I knew you could do subject. Okay.
There you go, Will. Who'd we get? Let me guess. Arik? Hey, what up, Arik?
Yeah, what's up?
You got
Been
here at a
here.
good time. Oh, did you say he's been here?
Yeah.
yeah, I've been here. I think AFTB just rejoined it.
Whoopsies. So okay, that covers contact us page, right? Other than getting the finalized copy.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to make a personal note to myself on my phone here real quick. I will work on the copy today. I think I could probably get a decent copy written up. Arik, were you here when I said we were going to schedule route one-on-ones?
Sorry, what?
I I was asking if you were present when I mentioned that we were going to do root one-on-ones, which basically means that Zach, Susie, or I will meet with everyone one-on-one to kind of ask them what they like about One Leaf, what we could be doing better, that type of thing, so we can figure out how what we could be doing to help get other people more engaged and make things better for our core team.
Yeah, okay, so I wasn't here. No.
Okay, so I'll just send you a private message and we'll set up a time when you're free.
Sure.
Okay, so any worries about what's upcoming? Does everybody have work? It looks like Fabrice has password validation. Will has contact us. I have the React map.
Yeah, I'll probably work on this website, like going online for
Perfect.
this domain. Actually,
Yeah,
I'll,
the dev
I'll-
subdomain, so we can have that dev environment.
yeah, exactly. I was about to ask you, Sabin, maybe we can schedule some time so we can do it together. So I don't need to write down steps. You'll see, or on like you'll see how I do it, and
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, I mean the designs look like they're coming along well. I mean, even if like they're not 100% concrete, we can get started on most of the views.
Yep. Agreed.
And hiding the privacy. What else? We don't really have. So we have the active projects, meet the team, and then the view for each project are like the three that we're waiting on, right?
Yeah.
The map with the meet the team, and then yeah. So V1 is coming very close.
Yeah, it'll probably be all the designs will most likely be done next weekend. I assume.
Yeah.
If not a week after that.
Do we have any things we want to go over in this meeting, or is this just kind of like to get us all on the same page?
I mean, I feel like our dev team is just kind of rocking.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure you guys didn't have any questions.
Nope.
Should we push the
we're good.
master?
Oh
That,
yeah, that's a question.
that is a good question.
So you're saying to develop one branch to the master to have that?
Because we've made a lot of updates.
I mean, right now we have the landing view that doesn't really have anything.
Yeah.
Like it has the view, like the structure, but it doesn't have any copy or any images.
Okay. The
So
copy is my highest priority this week, so I will get you that copy so you can throw it in there.
Yeah, I'd say
Or I
wait
can throw
right
it in there.
now.
Yeah,
It would also, I would also wait for us to have the page not found view finished.
that's a good idea.
Because I mean, there's a bunch of links, and they'll take you to like a blank page with just a link that says "Go back to home." So once we have the page not found view, it will just make it look better.
That's a good point. Okay, so I will get that copy done this week, and then we can get the page not found view hooked up.
Yeah, that one's designs are finished with it. So
Yep.
I was gonna, or whoever
Yeah, I see it's in
Fabrice
to do right now.
started, if he beats me to it, but after contact, I was gonna hop on that.
Perfect. You're the quarantine man. You're just getting so much done.
I know. Wheels on a roll.
Yeah.
I'm about to be unemployed for like 3 days, so
Well, you'll be temporarily interning for One Leaf. It sounds like.
yeah. Luckily, Luckily, Allstate is sending, or I'm starting remote with them, so they're mailing me my laptop.
Oh, that's awesome. I don't think I've ever heard of that.
Me neither. I was really worried. And they called me up and said, "You're good."
Well, guys, I think we're good to go. I will set up a meeting with RX so we can get up the develop branch for you guys, and then I'll get you the copy. Will.
Awesome.
Well, boys, if you don't have anything else, we're good to go.
Sounds good to me.
Alrighty. Well, thanks for coming to the meeting, everybody.
Thanks.